When was the last time you actually consciously clicked on a video in your newsfeed? Let me give you a hint. It probably wasn't the last video you watched, or the one before that, or the one before that. Videos are taking over our news cycle, and often we don't even have to click on the videos to be consuming the news. We're lazy and the news knows that, so they play the videos for us.
Corey Bergen, in his predictions for journalism for 2016, believes that push video will get smarter. It will know what to suggest and when we're most likely to watch and participate. It will ping us with stuff we really want to see and to share, even when it's live. It will follow us everywhere, fueled by our mobile addictions. In a word, it will become frictionless. Now that video has become so prominent in our consumption of news, and often we don't have a choice as to whether we engage with it or not, how will we continue to uphold news values as journalists and uphold objectivity? How do we make sure we don't simplify news and cater to a generation with a much shorter attention span? Liam is a 19-year-old university student from Melbourne. He studies business and isn't hooked into the news cycle 24/7. Videos for him are his main source of news.
Yeah, I watch a lot of videos on social media. They play automatically, which means that it's easy access. They often don't even need audio as well with captions, so this all increases easiness, which I get my news.
Amy is 22. She studies journalism and considers herself relatively in tune with the news cycle. She prefers the written word.
I think I prefer reading to videos when it comes to news. I think that often I'll start reading something and a video will pop up on the screen and I sort of find it a little bit distracting and it's almost like a little bit too much. I prefer to kind of just read my way through and I think it's easier to absorb that way for me.
So where does that leave us for those who prefer the written word? Will they be forced to embrace video as their primary source of news consumption? Natalie Malinarak points out in her predictions that the appetite for mobile and social video will continue to grow, and maybe brevity will finally win out. Let's explain the world with short animated graphics or even GIFs, she says. Ali is 24 and spends a great deal of time consuming content through Snapchat and short animated graphics.
Look, if I'm honest, most of the time I consume content, I consume it through Snapchat, memes, short GIFs. It's not that I don't want to watch longer from stuff, but I think it's just a time thing and I don't really have the energy.
In simple words, for people like Amy, videos are unavoidable. The written word won't die, but the visual one isn't going away. And videos will get shorter and shorter to cater for shorter attention spans. Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism found at the beginning of this year that the most successful videos tend to be shorter and under 1 minute. Kate is 55 and working full-time. As the world gets busier and more manic, she tends to prefer short-form videos for her news.
Working full-time, I don't get much chance to actually read a newspaper, so I prefer, particularly midweek, just a short video grab to get my news.
But what about stereotypes? Will short-form content mean we fall into the trap of reporting with stereotypes and simplifying content? Alex Wake, lecturer of journalism at RMIT, says it's possible.
For too many years, there's been a problem in simplifying content. Journalists have been doing that so much now. I think that we have lost the ability to actually access and to think about important issues in complex ways. The problem with people only watching news on video and online in those short forms means that people really don't think about the full range of issues out there. There are some stories that cannot be told well with video.
More than anything, as consumers and readers and viewers, we want to view the sequence of events and then form our opinions based upon what we saw. At the beginning of 2016, Ipsos found that only 25% of those in their research pool trust journalists to tell the truth. In blunt terms, we don't always want to hear a journalist's interpretation of the news. We want to interpret the news ourselves, often live and through raw content. And it's not hard for us to get our hands on these videos now. Ol Reisman pens that fancy cameras and bulky microphones will soon become a thing of the past. Our smartphones will become more than sufficient. This certainly tells us there will be more live video and unfiltered versions of the news.
Reuters Institute also found that interest in video news does increase significantly when there is a big breaking news event. Using the most recent terrorist attacks in Paris as their case study, the percentage of users accessing video per visit doubled from around 10% on a normal day to 22% immediately after the attack. So is live news the best way for us to hear the news these days? Alex Wake, lecturer of journalism, has her reservations.
The research shows that while the industry is pushing live videos, a lot of people don't actually watch videos with sound on. So unless you've actually got captions on it, you're really wasting your effort. Also, a lot of the videos that are out there are really very low quality and not put together in a way that anyone actually wants to watch. Lots of raw footage is not a great way to go, but really good produced content that we teach you to do in broadcast journalism works well on social media and on websites as long as it has captions and is clearly a very good and well told story.
Despite the optimism news outlets have with regards to video being the future, there are still significant issues that videos pose and problems news outlets must face.
On-site monetization continues to focus on pre-roll ads, despite widespread acknowledgement that this is a poor user experience that is affecting growth. Another major issue that news outlets are facing is that newsrooms are still stacked by journalists and editors who are inspired by words rather than pictures, so making the change is hard. Alex Wake from RMIT on teaching old journos new tricks.
Newsrooms are getting rid of people who cannot adapt to video and to other online technologies. It's been a trend for a while, but at RMIT we've always taught students to be able to do video and audio from day one of their degrees, and that won't change. But if you are trying to hang on to a job in a traditional newsroom without broadcast multimedia skills, you won't have that job for very long.
Although we are likely to see considerable innovation in the production of videos in the next few years, it's really hard to see video replacing text in terms of the range of stories and the depth of comment and analysis traditionally generated by publishers and by writers. Kate, Ali, Liam and Amy obviously don't think about these things though. They simply blindly consume. It's up to us to make sure that what they're consuming is objective and accurate. Ultimately, online videos need to enrich their knowledge rather than shape it.